the governor didn't fund it, but that's the program that provides healthcare to migrant workers. But we were like, what's bridges for health, but, that's what I was
The
told.
governor didn't fund it
No,
by mistake.
no, he probably couldn't within his bottom line.
I've seen more than 100.
Yeah, that's 1,100 bridges to health, and then Vermont, household insurance survey, that was not funded.
Yes.
Huh? Well,
That report's done every,
Why do we need another survey?
because we do it to determine the rate of uninsured in the state, and we keep it updated, we've been doing it for a long
In the
time.
meantime, we take money out of court reminders.
Well, we're buying a lot of motel rooms,
Yeah, we take money
so,
out of actually reminders,
all right, so now,
not giving them adequate exemption for what they deserve.
I guess human services put in the 3 million for the, child welfare information system.
yeah, so we have human services recommended
We
this,
were very busy.
yes. So in this $3 million, what ended up happening, there was a $3 million reversion from the tobacco fund. That was put into the general fund, and then this fund was about half of the estimated
And
cost.
then the agency's supposed to find it with excess receipt.
Or in the, at closeout, there's for the first $3 million that becomes available at closeout. Is used to meet the remaining $3 million need to update this system.
Has anybody taken any testimony on this?
Hasn't this been getting on?
Which one are we on? 21, the child welfare information system. We know it's.
We did last year.
We did
We haven't
a little
taken any.
bit this year, I mean, for the fact that it didn't, you see ability to. I forgot, but it's not good.
So we know that how the money got there. No, we did, because we did it. Out of tobacco settlement that we got, and we did 2 significant reserves. And, working with improving our, chins, and we had a chins advisory group in terms of how the money would be spent. I suspect this didn't go through, did anybody have any discussion, because that appropriation, I believe, was to the judiciary.
Right.
And did they, undertake testimony from, judiciary?
No, we don't.
No, I mean, our judiciary as in the court administrator?
No, I believe that. Only thing I know they wanted to take out of that fund was the transfer from the master to the judge.
But that's one-time money and the judge is ongoing, but,
Right, that was out of the tobacco. So,
well, we've got,
we put aside, remember we put aside $3 million plus dollars. And we funded the judicial master.
we put more than 3.
Was it 7?
It's more than 7. It was a lot of money. Because we funded a variety of programs. So we funded the master and some other recommended,
We want to
interventions.
take the money that was used for the master, we that instead of judiciary.
But that's been built into different.
But that's built into the judiciary.
So there's 7 million that was left unexpended. I was just wondering, as a courtesy, was there some testimony from
I can find out, I'm not sure.
from the court? Because I believe the appropriation was made, yeah,
Well, it's-
or was it
it's
to
a special,
I don't remember. We did it. It's been so long ago. I'm surprised that part of it hasn't been scooped by now because the workforce money for mental health was certainly rated. It seems like we're all acknowledging that this is a system that needs to be replaced. This is certainly having good data is essential to good policy, and at least it's child welfare related, so it's not paving
Is this the first 50% or the second?
the first.
We don't have any of the percent, so.
So
I
it
didn't know
would
if
be,
we had done.
it would 3 million one time out of this reversion, and then 3 million the agency got to find and close out.
Oh, that's so fresh.
But as a courtesy, we ought to Could
Why
someone,
don't we just ask Terry, cause
I was gonna say, could we send an email to Terry Cosson saying the House is recommending taking 3 million of that 7 million that is in the tobacco fund? And I do think, would you check to see where we appropriated it originally, so we're directly,
don't get back.
I know that, but which, did we appropriate it to judiciary or DCF? I think so too, that's my
You didn't
impression.
want to
We didn't want the administrative department, so.
trade it.
So would you confirm where the appropriation is? And I'll send it, if it's judiciary, as we recollect, this is years and not
Yeah,
years
it's
ago.
about 5, 6 years.
Yeah, I would like to, and as a courtesy, send a note, to Terry Coson's court administrator, alerting to this and, just ask if they were asked to testify and,
What's that?
any comments. We're gonna move on to 211 contract. The governor provided nothing on that.
Well, this is to make it a 24-hour service again. Per the House Human Services Committee. And it is not a 24-hour service right now, it ends at 11, it starts at 7. This would make it a 24-hour service.
What's the rationale for covering that additional 8 hours?
I don't know where this is coming from. This came from Human Services. I mean,
It seems like if you're covering it till 11 at night, that's pretty good.
You would know by 11 if you have places.
Well, since we don't have any state police on duty, you have to 2 a.m.
yeah, it's 211.
But the governor's,
It's
FY 24 is not, it's not zero, because we're funding it now, this is just for the extended time.
Yeah.
And this is one-time money, so we're just extending it.
And then next year, somebody will have to. They'll say, oh, you're cutting the $330,000.
All right, well, we'll keep going. We're not making final decisions on any of this. But I guess, I wonder where the request came in to do this.
Couple of shooters, yes.
Did they just get it out of thin air?
Yeah.
Oh,
The only thing I have heard a lot in our community during the floods, 211 was woefully inadequate. I can't speak to any here with the.
but that was different. That was a huge volume during an emergency and they weren't staffed for it and then they got criticized. And so, but this is to extend the hours. Well, it'd be nice to know, I mean, or maybe you could just do like a after hour answering service, for example. No, it should. All right, so I'm assuming that the House Appropriations Committee got a written request and a justification for every single one of these and what they have for information in terms of call, volume, etc. So we can get that. That would help us as we deliberate. I think bridge funding, that's to fulfill our obligation. That's been a top priority for some of us.
Could be transportation.
Oh,
The bridge.
oh, yeah.
It's shoveling money out of the door.
Healthy homes.
Oh, yeah, so this is a program at,
Oh, I know, it's really been well received and it's to help homeowners with water or wastewater systems that are failing. And a lot of them are oftentimes mobile homes out on back roads, so we put in more money, so we know what it is. The House took it out. I have a feeling this is one-time money. I guess we should ask Julie Moore, because this is a program that really does help people of very limited income maintain their homes. So it's a housing issue.
Yeah,
It's.
You know, like, flood and take money out of this stuff.
So did
Yeah, really.
they, does this say they left the $130,000?
We're left to,
They left 2 million.
they left to
The
million.
governor.
Well, this has, they,
Oh, they may have-
they reduced 2 million.
They did, right,
Yes.
they did
Right,
reduce.
so they left the 835?
No, they left 2 million, it's 4, if you look at your top, it's, they had,
Service
governor
costs, right.
recommended 4.
Oh, I'm looking at the next one down.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the next one down, so.
So they cut it in half, all right.
You can vote with that, manufacturer.
Same thing with the next one, yeah, they cut it.
And I've heard
You
really.
know, and the argument is that the housing bill is gonna, so these are things that we're gonna have to talk to our housing folks about.
Yeah, the housing bill's gonna take care of it with $130 million in taxes. My bill on the Senate, I just read the bill already. It's only once a new surcharge on violations that people don't already pay. To fund the access to justice program.
The 500,000 request.
Greg said,
Well, and we're already saying that people that can't pay and I think, and we're already adding so
Right.
much.
even the judiciary is losing money on the deal because they're relying on funds for their IT program. They're $2 billion in the red.
I think that's.
They can't get the money.
Okay, I think that bill is going nowhere in your committee and anything we do, relative to that funding request will be done here.
I agree.
Okay. What if anything? Now we're back to transportation, which is on hold.
Oh, before we,
I
pass it,
fund those e-bikes, they're dangerous.
No,
what about the e-scooters that's in London?
That's what it is.
Before we be able to under. So, we have
what?
manufactured home improvement and repair programming.
Uh,
Is that different from the infill that the governor was talking about where he wanted?
I think it is. I think it's people at mobile homes and
Trailer.
trailer
Yeah.
improvement.
I just want to make sure we weren't,
No,
cutting that out of the.
well, we haven't agreed with that and we're wondering whether in fact that's where you would want to, and these are one-time reductions, so.
Yeah. And I have heard that the mobile home piece, they do really good work. And the money goes quite a long way.
And so much of housing for people with the most limited incomes are manufactured homes. Okay, so we're gonna pay 3.5 to elevate homes and take away money for to repair homes. Well, that's what the house did.
I don't know about that elevation.
Could raise mobile home.
Sure.
Okay, e-bike, that's on hold. Vermont access, and this is something in the bill that we passed would provide the revenue, but we've got to get a fix on what, we have been giving this $1 million one time. And so out of the revenues, if you notice, if those revenues go in, that they go into the general fund. And we need to get a better fix on what is the budget for, public access. If the $1 million covers it, and so we have a sense, and then of course we've got to pay for the upfront, and then whatever's left, we can look toward, using as a way of helping address some of the,
You skipped the e-bike.
yeah,
Hold up for the.
Put it on.
Dangerous, well, it's T plus, I guess.
yeah, it's gonna be something.
Okay, those are dangerous items.
Election costs,
You and I agree on.
election costs.
So this is the, every other year we need to fund the election costs,
And the governor did not.
it was not included in the governor's recommend.
Did he know this on election issue?
Did, my understanding, I believe he did, I know that there was some conversations with finance management, was maybe there was carry forward available to cover this. Conversations with the Secretary of State, there was a carry forward available for this. The House decided to do was add, and the election costs are estimated about $800,000. What the House did was put $300,000 here and then add language to direct any money left over from the appropriation made in HB 50, which was the education fund, or the bill to have people move their votes.
Right.
From town meeting, to the extent there was anything left in that $500 million appropriation to direct that to election costs. So figuring between,
What is the estimated cost for the election?
it said 800,000.
800?
So that would be you need all five.
Yeah. I think you're right. No,
Which in, to the extent there's carry
minus-
forward,
3? Huh?
Oh, yeah.
There are some towns, I assume, are asking for some of that money for the cost to redo the ballot.
yes, and there was a part of the bill, the requirement was that you had to proactively say, we're going to move the vote. If your vote went down,
You gotta pay for it.
Yeah.
If you decided to go ahead at that higher level of spending, then the cost is on you.
It's only for people that have to reprint their ballots. Because they're changing.
they decided to,
days.
yeah.
There wasn't that many that.
They changed,
Not 500,000.
so probably most of it will be available for that. Okay, OPR, this is, they're losing money because of the compacts and, on the house, most of.
This is more for, I think all of those compacts include some type of studies to get them set up, so this is to set up the new compacts. This doesn't deal with the fund projected challenges the funds may
This
have.
is just the implementation.
This is just implementation of the new compacts.
How many new compacts do we have? Social worker,
I should know that.
occupational therapy, social worker, and a sunrise on doulas. Right, but this year. Don't,
He loves that.
well, this year there are 2 new compacts and there have been others in previous years.
But I wasn't.
And the doulas.
Why aren't the recipients, paying for their own,
They do, they do.
it comes from the general fund?
Well, in this case,
You don't pay.
if you're adding, new compacts, those have costs and I guess the professions being regulated are, they pay to regulate themselves, but this is an additional cost.
The people that come from out of state, do they have to pay?
They pay a fee,
To-
compact fee, we get a portion of that. That's exactly what it is.
Well, if we're paying on the general, why aren't?
No, but we're not getting full because they might be regulated and registered in another state. And so we have reciprocity so that a nurse that is being regulated in Maine could work in Vermont. It doesn't have to go through the whole process to get.
Do you pay from?
So compacts are a way of having reciprocity among states that have different professions. And so the more we,
A very wise idea.
well, it is in terms of workforce, but in terms of.
Yeah, if you want to have nurses.
Yeah,
Well, where do you think our nurses go? They don't even,
well, it's for all professions.
they go from Newport to St. J as a traveling nurse, so they double their pay.
This is different, well, this is different, it's licensing reciprocity. So,
I know, compacts.
yeah, so let's keep going on this.
We don't grant.
All right, Bobby, do you want to expound on your $1 million for loggers?
Ooh, well, I don't know if we can afford to give them $1 million, but they certainly need some assistance.
But
Yeah.
is this helping with the floods or this is the water quality
All
assistance
that.
program?
And floods,
And the thing that convinces me there is they have statute that says they can't go into the weeds. And so they're forbidden by law from.
I know that, I
Yeah,
know.
but this is to support the pilot expansion of the program.
no,
That's what it said.
they're not.
Water quality assistance, I'm looking at the note, look at the note. Pilot expansion of the water quality assistance program.
Yeah.
I thought they just wanted money like all the other businesses.
You see pilot? I mean, this has never, it hasn't happened before. But they've always been able to work 100, 110 days, they're down to this past year, 60 days because of no frost.
Right.
And all kinds of rain.
So this doesn't give them money for their losses. This gives them an opportunity to work more days in the future for the pilot program.
We don't know. And I thought when we took testimony,
Yeah.
at our public hearing, they basically said because of their economic, because of the climate and it's impacted their ability to work and certainly,
So
so I thought the $1 million was to be, sort of their version of BGAP, to be
Or
honest.
assistance.
Yeah, so we need to get something from House Ag in terms of what they think they're doing here versus what we thought we were being asked to do in the public hearing. Because it seems like perhaps the note is either not clear or they've got another use of it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have them in later.
Okay, so now we're down to Ag and this is, the governor had nothing, I guess, and they want 450
The cash crop,
for cash crop plus.
farm share.
All right, we'll keep going. I don't know, we're gonna have to hear something, on that. Here's the AHS Virtual Care Centers match, and this is just the, mixing bowl of, global commitment. Once we know what they are. Savings target, we've already had a lot of discussion on that. It was really bad, so we thought we'd make it worse.
Yeah.
57, now we're about 62. Okay.
But it gets that, right, that, right.
The Truth and Reconciliation. Their current budget was the governor's level funded and the House has tripled it.
The governor forgot to include it
Oh,
in his budget.
It was 247.
Yes, and I think that the rollout gets it at 1.1 million for everyone
and
hired.
so this was just, it's such a big increase because the governor
Because it
forgot.
was zero in the governor's budget. And the finance manager, the governor's office,
Unlimited commission.
I believe.
Yeah,
Okay.
But it's expensive for that time. It's like 7 million altogether.
I can't remember.
They did the finance management, Rod, we increased the financial regulation direct app by $1.1 million.
So they found, oh, here's the explanation. Accidentally left out.
so the governor is supporting the 1.1 million.
Yes, they found it. So,
How can you
all right,
balance this budget and then support?
well, they found the money in the, I guess, the hiding hole. Cash fund for capital and essential investments
Yep, this is the appropriation for the cash fund
in the capital bill.
in the Appropriations Act. So we took the cash fund appropriations, the governor recommended them in the capital bill, but it came out of the capital bill and they're in the Appropriations Act. And 11.
But did the House reduce that amount? Because we have 2 million in here?
They took that.
I don't know.
Yes, and we should probably have Scott Moore from Joint Fiscal Office, who's a capital bill person, analyst, that's the right term, analyst. Come in and kind of show there was some reductions and
Can they switch something to bonding?
they moved some things to bonding, they reduced some appropriations to free up additional resources that were then transferred, so we reduced the transfer to the cash fund.
Which the governor had about 10 or 11 million.
We had it at 10 or 11 and we reduced it to 5.
They took
6,
half
we
of
reduced it to
that.
6. And then there's some carry forward from the prior year. There's between the 2 years, money moving around, the total appropriation from the cash fund in FY 25 will be 9.55 million, and the transfer will be about 6.
Well, that's why we said the general fund. We
Right.
would determine ultimately expenditure.
So we gonna hold that.
Oh, yeah, we're holding all of it. We're not making really decisions on much of anything at this. We're just going through what they've done here. I did tell Senator Ingalls, but they actually funded the, out of general fund, out of separate part of the capital bill, the Salisbury Fish Hatchery. So, but they have a lot of language about the Salisbury Fish Hatchery capital bill. It's gonna come out of there. All right, we'll keep plugging away on this. All right, this other one, renewable energy standard, eliminate, no longer needed.
Yeah, so this, the H 289 that passed the House has to do with the renewable energy standard reform and the funding that the governor included based on the policies in the House. My understanding is no longer needed, so they were able to remove that one.
They're not funding it some other way, but they,
I think based on the policy changes, whatever this money was gonna go for is no longer necessary, so it sort of depends on what the Senate decides to do with 289.
that they might have to have a chance. The next is the global hospital global payments that I left 5 hospitals and I stripped that out.
And that's actually the next 3 is both the general fund, the federal fund, global commitment appropriations for that. That pilot payment.
Actually, that was one of the strategies to really begin to deal with, my healthcare costs and predictability by having global payments. I think it's something Merrill has been doing for quite a while. And,
So, but this is AHS, I don't know what the connection is, so there's no connection here with, Preventative Care Board, it's all data.
it would be, it's Medicaid reimbursed.
Yeah,
global.
total, yeah.
Yeah. But it was a pilot for 5 hospitals. Was
We
the,
should probably find out.
we should. I have Medicaid section, so I need to probably set up a time to go talk to Stephanie. About some of the stuff. This is where they picked up some general fund there. Yeah, got it. What about? Well, there's another 3.9 of general fund, that's a lot they pulled out to balance their budget, which is still about 17 million out of balance. Oh my God, might as well laugh as cry, I guess. All right, so federal funds, the global, so now we're down to,
Capital investment.
oh,
That was the one.
yeah, that's the one we pulled. That was the one where it was a forgivable loan, so if you've got money for a capital investment, all you have to do is prove you made the expenditure and your loan will be forgiven.
Oh,
And the question was, how do you fund it? But now we see how you fund it out of general fund, was something the governor recommended as part of its economic development. So I'm not sure how that will survive.
The next one is the VHIT program, which was funded in the housing bill. It's like out of the budget. We only funded at $1 million in the first year in the housing bill.
What's the permanent stream of eviction protection that's there's a cost to it? So it's not just the VHIP's all construction, right?
It is, it's taking apartments and making them so that they can pass codes.
I just wondered about the note where it says creating permanent upstream eviction protection. Is that just because there's more units?
So.
That's just the name of the bill.
yeah, I'm
Oh, yeah, that's,
on
yes,
board today.
that's the name of the bill.
829, okay.
Was, or is.
Passed.
That's passed.
That was the one that had, what was the revenue on that one?
829 is the property transfer limit, some additional bracket on.
So that's how much, how many millions is that?
In 1 second.
I know there were 2 that totaled about 130.
Yeah, that particular bill, the housing on 829, it was 17.5 million from the PTT. That would be the only thing in 25. And then in 26, it would be a total of 92.4 million, between the PTT and 74.9 coming from the personal income tax bracket.
Sure, those people would be very happy to pay that.
Yes.
Sunset.
It's an election year. Is it?
We didn't want any money for the election in the budget.
I saw it in here. It said it's gonna cost money.
All right,
Oh, to raise $150 taxes.
miscellaneous tax bill.
Yep, so in this currently only
Oh, is
the,
it the tax study?
yes.
Oh,
On the wealth tax, it requires JFO to contract with a facilitator to complete the study over 2 years.
Yes, 2 years.
For 2 years.
That another name for a
What do
contract?
we study?
What's a facilitator?
probably
Like to
fluctuate.
run the meeting.
There.
And I, well, somebody must have done the study already, and I dusted off and charged for it.
I don't know, all right.
If contract.
Probably take it to last time.
I'm
Put a bid in for the contract.
And I'm sure when you sell your small business, you'll be happy to pay that higher tax. But it's a one-off, so I don't,
We're not gonna charge people within 10 miles of the Connecticut River.
This is
Oh, good.
the wealth tax idea that they had that they didn't pass. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
To study it.
It's that other.
So they don't move away.
the unrealized capital gains.
Right.
I don't even know, and what happens if you have unrealized capital losses? Do you pay on your gains and
So I think it's based on the
Need
value.
for the facilitator,
what?
hence the need for the
It's
facilitator.
just based on the value, whether it goes up or down, I don't know, and maybe.
I've gotten letters from people that are raised over this, and they're like, I've got another home, like in the Boston area. And I can tell you, I'm out of here, it's what I'm getting for
Sure. I
communication,
mean,
because,
it's free.
wealth is mobile.
Well, it's mobile, but they say it is, and so I guess this is.
It certainly is, if in fact, the only time it's not mobile is if you're getting a huge salary, like the CEO of Fletcher, then, which is over 2 million, if your wages are here, but if you're unearned income, you're mobile. Because you
Right.
can collect it in the Bahamas if you wanted to.
Sure.
A lot depends on the nature of those taxpayers. Are they, one-time sales of assets, how they're distributed across and if they're, and if they are predominantly, getting income from unearned sources, then there's nothing that,
Yeah.
at some point. And people, when you think about, I look in my town report, how many people are putting, and you notice that their properties in trust? They're all doing their state planning, so people do engage in very deliberate planning to,
Well,
protect their assets.
but a
So-
lot of what we've done over the years, the judiciary avoids probate at all costs, and so. But even lower, moderate income people are doing things that they can't avoid probate, and that's the big issue.
Well, my only point is human
No, I
behavior
know.
is people will protect their assets.
Well, Sunday, I have to tell you, I'm doing my Vermont taxes and I screamed at Murph and told him we're selling the house and moving to Bon Air.
What did Merck say?
Have you been to Bonaire?
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's just a slab with lots of cacti.
Well, but it's also out of the hurricane zone
Yeah.
and it's beautiful and the people are nice and friendly and it
Great.
hasn't been Americanized
Yeah, they
like
do,
Aruba.
yeah,
The scuba
It hasn't
diving.
been Americanized like a
No,
Aruba, it's
Aruba's
not
not
industrial
like-
like yours.
yeah.
But
Would Murphy like it?
Murphy would love it,
The ABCs, you're right, Curacao is very industrial. Aruba is
Aruba's
very,
Americanized,
all
Bon Air
developed.
still.
Yeah.
well, on air is really quite nice.
The only thing you lose out of changing your residency is you can't vote here.
To vote on it?
No, I'll vote Bonaire. Well,
I'm voting
No,
Bon Air.
no, you aren't a resident, so you
But-
can't.
I'm for us.
If you're not saying,
if you're gonna say
50,000.
50,000 to give up voting for you, I know what the answer is, Bob. You're gone. You lose by one vote. No, I moved to New Hampshire.
I don't blame you a bit, I would too.
I'm gonna keep going. Emergency medical services. This is the EMS and this is something we did, right? We did this in the 310. Or is this different to deeper? No, this is the increase for the medical transportation.
Yes, and in the,
Except for the last, well, that's, except for the 150.
there is, so there's $560,000 in the C sections that's changing to add, the reimbursement for the non-emergency medical transport in FY 2024 in the current year, and then
We
622.
didn't give the money last year because the reimbursement methodology was putting them in a hole.
I believe so, and so 622, I believe, tries to deal with the reimbursement methodology and helps change that, so this is a one-time report, and I think there's a timing issue with when it happens, I think with when the claim sale runs out. So this
Oh.
covers the sort of last, let me think, the last piece that they need to sort of get to the new methodology, that's part of 622, so.
Why do we need 370,000
Yeah,
for an EMS advisory committee?
That was gonna be, and what does that mean, the 350 in the note versus the 150 in the amount?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, on page 30. Huh. Where did that one come from? House healthcare?
I believe so.
I think their committees must be having a contact who can propose
So,
spend the most.
And
Generally, do you know, like, the amounts is 150, but then it says a 370 appropriation?
That is a great question, I'm gonna see if Amy remembers. Do you remember it? But
I mean, it's only 31,000 for increased reimbursement. Providers,
Well, that's
we're spending 370,000
to advise.
Yeah, look
to
that one.
have an advisory committee.
Wait a minute, take that. Well, let's see, let's keep going. H 687, is that the Act 250 bill?
Yep.
Okay, well, that obviously gonna wait to go over here. And, I don't know to what extent we crossed off that with 213. For municipal planning and. So now we've gone through the web report, then it's 415. And, I'm going to suggest we adjourn for today. I don't know if I have a meeting.
Sure.
There's no